1320, first take.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Jane Reed, and today I'm here with Lynn Jericho of Imagine Self Academy, talking about holy, calm, and chaotic times. Lynn has been in spiritual conversation for 30 years and works with people like me to unpack their lives and make peace with themselves. Welcome, Lynn.
Thank you, Jane.
The
Good
first
to be
question.
here.
Oh, it's so good to be here
Yeah.
with you too. I I guess, like, could we start at what a definition of what is chaos, first of all?
All right. So chaos is disorder. It's confusion. Um, it's overwhelming turbulence. And we certainly see a lot of that. The other aspect of chaos that I really want to point out is in mythology, chaos is what occurs before creation. It's what existed before creation. So I think that's really important to keep in mind in these extremely chaotic times right now.
So it's before creation. It's also, I mean, I know I feel a lot of chaos in my daily life. In the collective, there seems to be chaos all around us. Can you
Right.
talk about that?
Yes, I think it's really important. And doing this work, researching holy, calm, and chaotic times, I realized we needed to unpack chaos. So there are four forms of chaos that we have to look at and consider. And the first one is collective chaos that impacts everybody around the world. And we're bombarded with it right now. We've got tremendous chaos with the pandemic. We've got terrible chaos with climate change. We have all the failure of leadership, the struggle to find something meaningful that we can all connect with. There's such extreme chaotic division and division within division. Financial recession going on all over the place. So there's a great deal of collective chaos, and that's why I'm focusing on this, because we're all overwhelmed by these huge circumstances in the world. Then there's personal chaos, and I have plenty of that, and I'm sure you do too, Jane. So that's your personal health issues, your personal anxiety, your personal financial issues, just what's going on in your life, in your relationships, in your work, in your well-being. There's just a lot of personal chaos. And then we have what I call, and it's the piece that has a little humor in it, and we always need humor. And that's micro chaos. That's the mosquito bite. That's the, oh, I want to make a sandwich. Oh, I don't have any mayonnaise. It's the pile of unfolded clean laundry. It's, it's the papers everywhere. So that's challenging. But the chaos I really want to work with, the chaos that is going to get us or drive us to holy calm, is what I call reaction chaos. So I have reactions to the collective chaos, my personal chaos, and the micro chaos. And I have reactions to my reactions. And I might have reactions to my reactions to my reactions. That's part of human consciousness, this ability to react. And what we need more than anything is to learn how to respond, how not to react to our reactions. So that's where I'm going with this. This is the beginning of getting to holy calm, is naming the chaos and the big reactions we have.
What I'm hearing from you too is that chaos, it's what happens in our ecosystem. So this is all, it's we're working with the collective chaos and our response to it, our reactions to it. So our reactions are personal.
Everything, all reactions are personal. Now, the thing that I just thought of listening to you was that to get into a meaningful conversation around collective chaos, we need to be calm. We need to have that holy calm. We need to understand equanimity and what it means to experiencing the centering of our own soul life, so that I can talk to somebody I don't agree with, that normally their approach to the collective chaos would freak me out. I can't have a conversation when I'm freaked out. I can't listen. I can't have compassion or care for somebody who has a different point of view, because I'm too wrapped up in myself and my crazy reactions, as much as I believe in them and feel they're absolutely right. What good does that do if I can't have a conversation?
Yeah, so really it's beginning to have more capacity with our reaction chaos then is the
Yes,
starting place.
that is it.
There, okay. The starting place is our reaction chaos.
Yes.
And so equanimity, finding equanimity with that reaction chaos.
Yeah. And that will get us to holy calm. And in holy calm, we can have the kind of conversations, we can make the choices with freedom and with serenity that we need to make now, that we have to make. So that's what I'm working with for myself and for all my clients, anybody that follows me in my blogs, takes my courses. It's how to get to that place of self-knowledge that we're not reacting to. I mean, I don't know, Jane, you've taken my courses, you've worked with me. What's been your experience?
My experience is that, I mean, this can be a multi-leveled answer. I mean, the first thing I have experience with is your reverence for my unfolding humanity. So I do really appreciate that. And I think the other thing I've learned from you is that crisis offers opportunity. So if we're, that there's a way to move beyond our narratives, our victim perpetrator. You've talked a lot about that in your blog posts and worked with that in some of your course offerings. And I think for me, that's provided a template to have the courage to work within the narrative. That's what life has offered me. And now how can I penetrate that to extract the wisdom that's actually been offered to me instead of just staying stuck in a victim perpetrator dyad.
And that's certainly true now. I mean, the victim perpetrator consciousness is messing with us. It's destroying us because we feel like a victim. We have to find the perpetrator. We have to attack the perpetrator. So the victim becomes the next perpetrator. And it's just a cycle of no win at all.
The other thing that you've affirmed for me is that chaos always precedes transformation. If we allow it to, if we are willing to work with it, that life delivers us chaos, it's certainly delivering it in a mass scale. Oftentimes it feels like it's hard to really interact with it. And I think what I'm hearing you say is the step forward is equanimity. Can you talk more about equanimity, what that means? How do we get there? Where did you first hear this word?
Okay, that's great. I first heard about equanimity, and when I've brought it up in certain groups recently, very few people understand equanimity. And I came across it first about 30 years ago when I started studying the work of Rudolf Steiner. And Steiner offers 6 basic exercises for spiritual development. and they're in a particular order. So the first exercise is control of thought. The second exercise is control of will. The third exercise is equanimity. And then the last three are openness, tolerance, and perseverance. Now, I had a terrible time, a difficult time. I read everything I could on how to do these exercises, but what was getting in my way was a lack of equanimity. I had triggers galore around control of thought and control of will. And perseverance, I could do openness, I can do tolerance pretty well. But sticking with something, or feeling equanimity, that was not easy. And so it's occurred to me that equanimity is the exercise that needs to come first.
Okay.
Equanimity then allows me to approach control of thought and control of will and perseverance, my three difficult ones, with a lot more ease. I'm not getting triggered, or it's not that I'm not getting triggered, it's that I'm not getting triggered by the trigger. All right, I'm not reacting to the reaction. I can embrace it. I can find self-compassion around my reactions, my triggers, my upsets, all of that, so that I have them, they don't have me. And that's a huge difference. So then I can take on so much that normally would overwhelm me, because what was overwhelming me was the reaction, the trigger, the upset around whatever I was facing. So getting to holy calm, and I think Steiner's 6 exercises all together are a wonderful picture of holy calm. But the first thing we have to do is develop equanimity. And in order to develop equanimity, we have to deal with these beasts, you know, these monstrous upsets, these demon worms that get in and start messing with our feelings and our thoughts. So that really this understanding of equanimity is hugely significant. I mean, it's a life-changing experience, and it will get you to the gateway to holy calm.
Yeah, and my experience with this has been that if we can approach one of these things in a deep way, that it provides a little bit of real estate in ourselves so that we can feel that there is more safety. So we not only learn a process, but also learn, in a path to equanimity, but that nourishes more equanimity. Is that your experience too?
Yes. Yes, it is a practice. It's not, equanimity is not an instinct. It's not an impulse. It's something beyond that. We're not born with equanimity. Even the most calm baby will react. And certainly that builds, most of us have had reasonably traumatic or very dramatic traumatic childhoods. Those formative years between birth and 21 are meant to create all kinds of challenges so that we develop maturity. So we learn how to stand in the world instead of getting rocked by the world. And of course, there's no schooling in that. We have to wait and figure it out. It's like finding Rudolf Steiner, and that gave me a clear path to a process of inner development. And I really think it's key to understand the role of equanimity and the possibility of holy calm.
So can you say a little bit more than equanimity? I'm hearing from you is a sort of balance.
Yes.
That goes beyond a story and a
Right.
narrative, but Someone wanting more equanimity.
Yes.
But it goes beyond the story and the narrative, that it's a state of being. Equanimity, is that right?
Equanimity, the phrase I've loved is that equanimity is the centering soul.
Ah, okay.
All right. So that, I don't know what your picture is of having a center. It's, in the 23rd Psalm, it's still waters and green pastures inside in my consciousness, so that no matter what is going on in terms of circumstances, I can find my way to still waters and green pastures.
There's a path to still waters, in other words, because when I'm thinking about like a fulcrum stays in balance it doesn't stay in balance for long, actually, but there's a path back to that fulcrum also.
It's finding the fulcrum is a very good image. I've actually written about that because I think it's such an important experience. One of the credentials I have for understanding equanimity is, as a kid, I would get on a seesaw, and I loved balancing that seesaw so that no end was down. I loved that feeling. So it's a somatic experience. It's something I just love doing all the time. It was much more meaningful to me than being up or being down.
So you're saying too that the awakening of equanimity is really the transformation of our inner chaos, reaction chaos, into the state of holy calm. Can you talk more about how is holy calm? It sounds like it's a little higher octave of equanimity, but can you describe it more?
Yeah. Holy calm is, it's not corruptible. It's not temporary. It's a source that lives within us. Equanimity is the path to that source. So there's always holy calm in each of us, but finding our way to it is what's the challenge. And it's such a significant task for awakening our individuality, because each of us is unique. My path to holy calm through equanimity is very different from yours. We can talk about it, we can relate to it, but each of us is so unique. We're so extraordinarily unique that, first of all, we all are living with different reactions. We're all having different responses because we're so complex. So what triggers you and keeps you up at night may not be what triggers me and keeps me up at night. We both need to find our own path of equanimity and get to our own experience of holy calm. And
that makes so much sense to me, because we have different physical bodies. We have different ways that, a friend was just telling me her thyroid is out of whack. Like, we have the systems within our bodies are different. Our cells might have different, cocktails of hormones and different things that we react to. And then
different ages, where I'm here in North Carolina, you're in Michigan, my son is in Oregon. I have clients that are dealing with the fires and the smoke. I have a good friend who is a lesbian who's liberal as hell, and her family is in the middle of Pennsylvania, and they're Christian Republicans. And what she lives with, they can't stand, but what they live with, she can't stand. So part of it is with equanimity that we can overcome differences.
And holy calm is not needing to escape the reality,
No,
not
and
needing.
I have a list here that I want to read to you. Oh, so I have a word around holy calm in this list is invincible. I love the term invincible. So it's the invincible center of your selfhood. And it comes from above, right? Most of our reactions come from below, from our biology, from our biography, from our material circumstances. But holy calm is spiritual and it comes from above, or we climb up to it through the different activities of equanimity. But I wanted to point out that holy calm does not depend on control, the ability to control or be vigilant. It does not require vigilance. And so many of us on a physical, etheric level are always defending ourselves, always experiencing threat, and many of us use control. Holy calm does not call for escape or distancing from reality. Now, that's one of my favorite ways to deal with my crazy life, is to go into fantasy. I start thinking, control, it's a will gesture. I'm not into controlling. I'm into fantasizing. That's not holy calm. Then in the feeling life, we tend to hide our feelings, collapse our feelings, suppress our feelings, we freeze. That's not holy calm. Holy calm does not submit or go numb or fall into depression.
Mm.
That's, there's no equanimity there. Holy calm does not collude with or attach to the causes of chaos and threat. Often it's like the kidnap syndrome, where somebody's kidnapped, identifies with the kidnapper in order to be safe, to have some sense of reality that they can manage. And then holy calm does not doubt, it does not hate, and it does not fear. And that's, who doesn't want to get to that place? If you're more attached to hating the perpetrators, the enemies, you'll never get to holy calm. You're totally caught in the victim perpetrator nightmare, the whole reaction chaos.
Why? I mean, obviously, holy calm and the moments that we have of it are sublime. They're joyful. We feel in the flow of life.
Yeah.
And that's reason enough. But for those of us on a spiritual path, what does holy calm give us?
Well, holy calm allows us to have this centered sense of self, and also this incredibly courageous expression. Well, I mean, self-awareness without denial, without running from yourself. And then it allows for self-compassion, to really be kind to yourself with unconditional acceptance. This lifetime, this is who you are. And then self-expression with holy calm. You don't doubt yourself. You're not afraid of other people's reactions to your truth, to your needs. There's so much there. So that's the spiritual path. It's getting to that place of oneness and consciousness.
So we each have a unique path to holy calm, and yet the ways that we go about it must have something to do with the universal archetypes that we each share. Is it?
Right. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what I'm bringing. You know, we're having this conversation. We have 2 more conversations to go, and that's where we start looking at the archetypes that allow us to develop equanimity. So it's really interesting. I've developed 4 steps of perceiving, which we'll talk about in our next conversation. And then in our third conversation, we'll talk about 4 steps to understanding. And this is about perceiving our reactions, perceiving the demons in our lives, and then understanding our experience of them. And with those, working with the archetypes, we'll be able to really find our way through this. I mean, in a way, I feel like Virgil, and I've run into Dante, who's, you know, in the cold mountaintop with all the beasts around him. And Virgil says, I can get you to paradise. I can get you through this. But first, you're going to have to go through hell, and then you're going to have to go through purgatory. So everybody that wants to experience holy calm has to go head on with their inner chaos, with the chaos of their reactions. And it's doable. It's definitely doable. I learned about equanimity with Steiner, but what really got me to a deep understanding was on 9/11, I was living in a brownstone in Jersey City, and I was out on my deck watching the towers burn and witnessing them collapse. And, you know, at first I was total reaction. I mean, it was an intense experience.
Yeah.
And then I immediately started writing about trauma. So I started perceiving and understanding what was going on with traumatic experiences. And then I formed a relationship with a woman that for over a year we had conversations, unpacking this experience, looking at the possibility of a life, a new ordinary life, a life that was 9/12, not 9/10. And that's what we have to do now. And I published an audiobook called Ground Zero in the Human Soul, The Search for the New Ordinary Life. But that experience has given me so much strength that I took that crisis as an opportunity. I took the chaos of my reactions, and it led me to transformation. And so in our next 2 conversations, that's where I hope we go.
Thank you for sharing your journey from personal chaos that so many people experienced at 9/11, and I know you were in the midst of it, and just how you turned that into the learning, but also how it's helped you define this practice of equanimity to get to holy calm.
Right. Plus, I've had all my work with my wonderful clients. I mean, who's that lucky that I have these extraordinary human beings that come to me for sacred conversation, for, you know, building equanimity around their lives. They all come in deep reaction, and they all want my support in finding equanimity so they can grow.
Having been through that process with you, I can certainly say that it is possible for anybody, and that by unpacking these bits of chaos or massive chaos, as the case may be, and penetrating them, unwinding them, perceiving and understanding, it is an effective path to equanimity. So excited to talk to you on the next video
Good.
about what comes next.
This is
Thank you.
okay.